Greetings, ladies and metallers, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Misconceptions Surrounding Human Nannies by EntangledBottles. Human nannies were known throughout the galaxy as the best child-rearing service money could buy. The humans were also renowned among spaceship crews for bonding to anything, let alone the actual child of a sentient race. Many a space-born child has grown up with an Uncle Mickey, though the odds are evenly split between this uncle spoiling them rotten, exposing them to vast unnecessary danger, such as teaching them to build minor improvised explosives, or elastic-based firearms, or somehow both. And still those spaceship crews often speak warmly of these uncles and aunts, and their willingness and ability to care for children on occasions when the parents were otherwise busy. The problem, however, arises when these two rumors mix, usually on worlds distant from the human homeworld, Earth, where the local human population in a given settlement might number in the single digits. In particular, frontier worlds are vulnerable to this, which is, in particular, unfortunate, given the often loose legal framework in those areas. Rumors mix and twist until one is left and with the belief that one can merely place one's child in the custody of a local human and collect it a few years later, when it has experienced as a renowned human child-rearing and is less of a burden. This never works out in the favor of the parent. A surprising number of humans, at least to us most familiar with them through hearsay, will simply refuse to care for the child, in one way or another, and some will yet raise it, but poorly. Sometimes, though, and most noteworthy, are those that do care for the child. Through my research, it has become extremely apparent that outside of the nanny caste, humans bonded to a child that they have raised are universally reluctant to return it. The degree to which this manifests varies, but particularly in the frontier worlds, one might return to collect one's offspring, to find that the human left years ago, bringing the child with them. Even when this is not the case, collecting said offspring is rarely a simple affair, and the human turning to violence is not uncommon. Many choose to simply give up and surrender their child in the human's care permanently, and simply make a new one, and many of those ones that don't meet unfortunate ends. An example that gained local fame is a case in the Arison cluster. The local Venera queen, delighted at the good fortune of an apparent human nanny in her hold, decreed that the human raise her daughter and her heir. When she returned a decade later to collect said child, to finish those parts of their raising and education one could not leave to others, especially as a queen. The human challenged her to a ritual combat over the custody of said child. The queen, legally unable to refuse, accepted, at the apparent surprise of the human. The human made several attempts to dissuade the queen and was thought to be now fearing in their life. The coming fight, however, proved otherwise, and for the first time, the Arison cluster is now ruled by a non-Venera regent. The new Venera queen appears to be pleased with the outcome and has stated that she will continue to heed the advice of her father and regent once she reaches maturity. While one can only imagine the exact circumstances, it is evident that not only do humans form unexpectedly firm bonds, but are also unprecedentedly fierce in protecting these bonds. It is this author's hope that this small missive would dissuade the good people of the galaxy from making unfortunate decisions based on the rumors surrounding the humans. For those with a greater interest in the matters, my extended dissertation is available in the Beryllian archives for a modest fee. Once in the Arison cluster, Sam stepped forward, putting himself between Felicity and her once mother. She wrapped a nervous tentacle around his waist, and even as he put himself between her and the queen, he gave her a reassuring squeeze. "No, I refuse."
Bailey Serratai Raricetine is the one's daughter. Your services have been appreciated, but we will take over now. She is our daughter, and it is time she returned to her mother.
With all due respect, Your Majesty, go to hell. You stopped being her mother the day you abandoned her with me. If you want her back, over my dead body, I'll fight you on this every step of the way. Electrical chattering noises Sam recognized as comically literal shock filled the hall as the crowd heard him. In his anger, he found himself enjoying the sound. Whether it was from his crude language or his decree, he did not know. But they could all go to hell along with their queen for all he cared. Sam did not favor these odds of winning a legal battle against the queen of all things, but there were actually laws for that sort of thing here. Hopefully, he could get a hold of a human embassy on Ilium. It was only 10 light years away, so they might be able to offer legal advice. The queen stood still for several long seconds before a slight crackle of energy danced across her flower crown, the Venera equivalent of blinking one's eyes to collect oneself.
Very well, human. This one accepts your ill-fated challenge. We shall convene in the ancestral hall of mortal combat the day after tomorrow. Make peace with your gods, as I shall make peace with mine.
Well, shit. 2 days later, Sam held the ritual axe in his hands and trembled slightly. Could he really do this, to fight another living being to the death? He'd fled to this remote corner to avoid the draft for a reason. The Geralds had no concept of conscientious objectors. He saw his daughter sitting in the stands, her tentacles wrapped anxiously together. He gripped his axe tighter. He'd not let his daughter be raised by some heartless monster that threw her away for a decade, and then come to collect her like a lost bag of luggage. Hours later, Sam sat on the throne, trying to relax his shoulders, as a quickly crafted metal flower crown was being lowered onto his head, regent, until his daughter, now legally recognized as such, reached maturity in 15 years. He wondered briefly if there had been another way through this, or if he could somehow get out of it now. But one look over at Felicity dissuaded him of it. Her once mother had had her chance to back down, but that was one thing he could never have done. He did, however, wonder how in 7 halls he was going to rule a goddamn planet. He glanced at Felicity again. The things one did for one's child. End of story. Story number 2. Why Are You All the Way Out Here, Human? Written by Vivid Membership 3959. Universe 9441. It was a normal day on my usual patrol duty. Even though the Sol Republics, the Republic of Centauri, are very positive, we still practice basic border control, which was determined to be halfway between our respective stars. My usual patrol was greeted by the occasional old broadcasts from Earth's entertainment stations. I'll admit that I've gotten my system to play some of them after spending some time to clean up the static. That was until today, where I saw a huge ship twice the size of my own ship piloted by a skeleton crew. With the humans invading, they do have a very militaristic past from what they have told us. However, my belief in the simple acts of diplomacy still hold. The craft still has time to end its FTL and not enter our territorial space. Besides, no one really cares about the void.
This is border security position 1101, and under the DCIL treaty, your ship is impinging on our space because of this. I demand for your craft to change its course out of FTL path 21-88, back towards the nearest Earth port.
I transmit the signal towards the ship and begin to move my craft out of the potential effect of any weapons that they could be carrying. The ship slowly stops from FTL so as to not rip itself apart. I wished that was the end of this confusion, as the ships hail mine. The human as we know them is shown on a screen. Usually humans wore a blue clean uniform when the diplomatic missions, though occasionally they'd be wearing other clothes due to the month-long travel time between our planets. Mainly because FTL is a new invention to the universe, but that's a story for another time. This human was wearing civilian attire and looked not of a diplomat. Sorry for the scare, just trying to catch a special. The human says casually, like I would understand the adjective serving as a noun.
A special what?
I asked back to the human. A special. A one-time release of a video for events. The human explained back in such a way that I'd assume that made me feel like a dumb one.
From my understanding, human video is how I am capable of seeing you from my ship, and the way you are using it isn't making sense. Please elaborate more about why you are here, and please don't use colloquial words.
All right. So on Earth, there was a series of stories with moving pictures and audio, and we call those videos. One of my favorite stories that use videos as a medium was released in one of their videos only once, and no copy can be found on the internet. The human continues to explain. Because radio waves travel at the speed of light, and this craft can travel faster than light, I am going to go far enough away from Earth to watch it, the human says, in a way that seems prideful.
So, let me get this straight. You decided that a video was worth going on a ship violating our space area. Is that correct?
I say to the humans at a ludicrous plan. Yep. Now, if you let me pass, I still have 20 years to go back to catch up. That's not even to mention the amount of work I'll have to do to put the computer in order to remove the static. I try to speak up to cut off the human's talk, but the human just ends the communication and continues on their way, on their mission to watch a video or something. I'm not paid enough to deal with this. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Bitmori, Terran on Air, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Red Panda 121, Leslie 517, Bushmaster 177, Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Lightjock, Dragzoon WRE, Lord Azrakul, and Arcadian. Thank you.